Now let's look at the first example problem for topic 2. This is called the die roll. So if you haven't read the problem, you should pause the video and read the problem and try to understand it. So in essence, what the problem asks us to do is that we are given two dice roll value, y and w. So this would be between 1 and 6. And we should compute the probability that we are going to throw a value that is at least as large as the larger of the two. So in essence, if we tie, we are considered to win. So we want to compute the probability of winning. And we should express the answer in a fraction in the simplest form. So I encourage you to try writing some code to solve it. In fact, it's okay to start writing the code, even though you are either not sure the code would be correct, or even when you're quite sure that the code wouldn't solve the problem completely. But it's okay to try something and then see how it works, and then think about whether there are ways to fix the problem. So it's better to try instead of only thinking to see whether you can come up with a correct solution. So once you start typing, once you start seeing examples, there will be more feedbacks that help you come up with the correct solution. So this is the code that my beta tester came up with when he was first saw this problem. So we first read in the two value, and then he realized that there are two cases. The first is y is greater than equal to w, in which case the number of ways that we will win is 7 minus y. So if the biggest value is 1, then there are 6 ways we can win. 1 through 6 all okay. So we just want to print this fraction. Similarly, if y is less than w, then the number of winning ways is 7 minus w. So is this version correct? And if it's not correct, then why not? So in some sense, this version is almost correct. It has the correct math in the sense that the printed number is actually mathematically correct, except that it's not simplified. So therefore, it doesn't satisfy the math aspect of the format. So it doesn't produce an irreducible fraction. So for example, it can output 4/6 instead of 2/3. And the other thing is the formatting of the output. Because we use the print to print multiple things, they will automatically add a white space in between each of the things that are printed. So we get one white space slash white space 6 instead of 1/6 directly. So in fact, fixing these two things, they are doable, but it's actually a little bit difficult in the sense that we need to introduce new things that we haven't introduced so far. So I'm going to fix this at the end of the at the end of this problem. So we'll first try some other solution that doesn't require the more complex additional concept. So first we make some observations. The output depends only on the max of these two values. And more importantly, there's really only 6 possibilities. So the program can at most output 6 different things. And we can figure out what are those 6 things. So we can just hard code those 6 things and then output them when appropriate. So in some sense, didn't quite solve the math problem. We didn't do fraction reduction, but we're going to get the correct program this way. So you can say it's kind of cheat, but again, it depends on the problem specification. If this is what we're asked to do, then that is a perfectly fine solution. So encourage you to write the code to do that. So here is implementing that idea. So we compute the max of y and w, and then depending on its value, we're going to print these different strings. So if the max is 1, then we have 6 ways of winning. 6 over 6, it's simplified into 1 over 1, and so on. So this programming idiom is like listing all the cases. So in languages such as C and C++, there's an explicit syntax case for this. But using if and else if can implement this perfectly well. Also want to point out that in fact the last condition else if can simply be else, because if we reach this point, then the only possible value for m to have is 6. So m can only be between 1 and 6, and if it's 1 it will go here, if it's 2 it will go here, if 3 will go here. So once it reaches execution reach this point, it has to be m has to be 6. So this check is actually unnecessary. But writing this value here is also fine, and I guess it more explicitly show the condition. So might be a little bit better for human to see the see the code more immediately what it is.